Welcome to a new episode of Extraordinary. I'm your host, Jonathan Løw, and as always, we promise you extraordinary guests and down-to-earth conversations. Today's guest is Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell is a former English footballer, best known for his position as central defender and captaining the English squad. Sol is now a successful entrepreneur and investor. So Sol, thanks so much for taking the time. We're here at the TechBBQ, and normally we're not doing live episodes, but now we are recording live. Well, we can't cut off the worst stuff, but thanks so much for taking the time.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here as well. It's different in the sense that it's in the Nordics and things like that. As for me, it's nice to. I know tech is big up here, so it's quite nice to be asked to come here to talk as well. And I'm open. There's technology, there's good people up here. And I've got many friends who are from Scandinavia regions. So I feel people are always polite here, so it's great.
And we're gonna talk a lot about leadership, both from sports, but also now in your sort of second life, new life after the professional sports. But as I said to you just before we started recording, I wanted to start with this one first. I brought this one so the viewers can see it, and you kindly asked me when I asked you to sign it. So who are the children it's for? It's for me. Yeah. I'm the child. This was such a big part of my childhood and youth. And you're on the front page. And you told me a little story. Can you share the story again? How did this come about? How did you end up on the front page of FIFA? I mean, the world's biggest game.
Hell, it probably wasn't the world's biggest game at the time, but they were obviously getting bigger. And from the World Cup before in France, I played an amazing competition. I got into the team of the competition, which is great for a youngster. Just started for my first big major competition playing wise. I was in Euro '96, but I was on the bench, played once. Well, came on against Scotland, but this is when I first started, and I had the qualifying campaign, so I was fully into this and had amazing. So they probably looked at it and said, "Hey, so do you want to be involved?" I got the email from my agent and said, "Yeah." In the end, I thought it was great. You have to do a little bit of filming and just put a cat suit on.
Nice.
with little pimples all over me, sensors and all the cameras, and it was fun. I remember David Ginola, he did it. I think he did it a year before as well. So what they were doing is collecting all the information, all the movements, and then when they kind of, headers, tackles, passing, jumping, all these kind of things. They were recording everything. And then when it went to the transferred onto the screen, you're like a stick insect. You wasn't the fault. They were just looking at the movement. It's incredible how they transferred it on. And that was the early stages of the team for the FIFA, all this moving that technology and helping them understanding movement, understanding all sorts of aspects of the game and developing the game. FIFA was a it's quite funny because FIFA is like every 4 years, but then it's FIFA 2000. It's like it is what it is. It's quite interesting how the World Cup's every 4 years, but it's the FIFA can say any FIFA 2000, FIFA 2001, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy it was 2000, and I'm a part of it. But then after that, after Vancouver, with Sega taking all the data for me moving, they flew me down to LA, and then I went to another kind of it was like a warehouse somewhere, and it was a place where they do all the kind of shaping of air fighters' heads and helmets. So I kind of was plonked on this kind of machine that span me around, and they threw all kind of like talcum powder over my body, mainly my legs, and to kind of define the contours of the muscles. So then what they're doing, they're taking pictures of that and then lifting those pictures, images, and then slowly starting to build the kind of the bodies of certain players, so it became a little bit more lifelike. So it's the beginning. So I was part of that technology. It was great. Got my face as the leading face of FIFA, and I'm proud of that. And it was the beginning of their innovation. It was great. They put a lot of money. They were clever about it, and they thought outside the box as well. Because going to a place that does all the helmets for air fighters, so all the contours of their face, the chin, and things like that is perfect for the helmets, but repurpose it for muscle definition and things like that, so they can put it onto the screens.
As I told you before we started recording, I also have an elite sports background, not at all at your level, and within badminton. We have no cool badminton game at all. But you had this game. Was it a thing among the players, Did you did you talk about it?
Badminton?
Football and
football.
the game, at Arsenal and Tottenham. Were you comparing your numbers? Were you doing the right moves in the game? So, was it part of the culture there?
No, it wasn't. Not much. Like now it is.
Yeah.
But back then, as I said before, David Ginola did it a year before, and they was obviously looking at a winger and then trying to kind of, get the movement and the dynamic movement of someone on the wing. So they were getting all sorts of players to do movements and record their movements and their data. So we did it. It wasn't that time, 2000, it wasn't comparing numbers and things like that. There was some, you did it at pre-season, and it was just in-house for the fitness and for the coaches and the manager, but it wasn't, widely broadcast. It was more internal. As time went on, it started to open up and technology groups got involved and wanted to expand that. And also, went into TV, that made it even bigger. Like, how quick did that guy run, recover, blah, blah, blah. For them to look professional as well, not just filming the football game. They're looking, distance from the goal for free kicks and all that kind of stuff. Velocity of the speed of the ball. Someone kicks it and, they wanted to record it for the fan engagement to understand how quick and things like that, and then people can compare. Wasn't around when I was there. I wish it was, because I was frigging faster than what they, the bane of my life, and what I don't like is that some of the players, the numbers that were taken from them were like 31, 32, 33. And then you compare yourself with some of the players now, and you're quicker than them. But then sometimes people clever and papers or who's doing the data, they mix the kilometers and miles per hour. And then when you convert it on your own, because some people people are lazy. People don't want to convert it in their heads. They just see that, it looks quicker, but if you convert it, I'm almost quicker. But you took it when I was 31, 32, 33. You didn't take it when I was 23. That's what for my kind of situations, like find a technology that can go back in time and then monitor all the quick runs of players. It's probably out there, but they don't want to do it. I'd love someone to say, hey, so I'm going to look at your reels and I'm going to record and I'm going to do it for you for a birthday present. Here, This is how quick we were at 20, 21, 23, 25. That's what I want. That is what I want.
Then go back and update this game and, increase your pace, right?
But then you can update it and say, here you go, here's evidence. I'm quicker. I was quick,
exactly.
But I was quicker.
It's actually interesting because, so I come from the individual sports, but you've been excelling in a sport that's both, individuals, probably also a lot of big egos you've played with, and then a team. And you've then been the captain. Do you remember the first time you were, which is a super important leadership role, do you remember the first time that you were became a captain and why? What did they see in you that made you a leader?
Yeah, so, I think if you roll back my life, never been captain, for my sides until 2021. So before that, I think what was happening, it was more influenced by outside or parents, pushy parents, people who thought this is the player of the future. Yeah, we've got to make them captain. The this, the that, blah blah blah. And I was just getting on my business quietly, just getting on my business quietly, working hard, doing my stuff, perfecting my game, knew how good I was, keep training behind the scenes and in front of players. And I just kept that philosophy, that quiet, confident, steely, internally strong work ethic kind of way about me. And I just kept on grinding. I kept on fighting. I kept on developing, kept on learning, listening, and then really thinking deeply about my game philosophy, reflecting, sometimes probably too much. If I lost the game, I'll be in a spin for like 2-3 days. But I was contemplating. I'm a real perfectionist in the sense that this is my craft. This is something I want to get better at. So as time went on and the games went on, and the managers came in, and then they, went on. It was when Jerry Francis came in at Tottenham, and I was playing, and I was like 20, 21, and he came up to me and he said, "So," at the time it was, I think David Howes was the captain at the time, so he must have been about, I don't know, 28, 29, something like 30. I can't remember. And he said, "So, I want you to be captain." And
at 21.
At 21, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 21, yeah. 21, 22, something like that. Yeah, 21, 22, yeah. Maybe, yeah, 21, 22. No. I think 20.
Wow.
I think 20. Check. You can check. Do the numbers. Do the numbers. And he said, you got a day to think about it. So I said, okay. But the challenge for me was, how do I manage players older than me? Much older than me. How do I go about that? And do I take it? Is it a bit too young? Am I too young to take it on?
Like many young tech founders actually who are here, in their early 20s, having to employ team members who are much older.
Yeah. So I said, oh, okay, I've got 24 hours to think about this. So I slept on it and I tossed and turned. But something inside me said, take it. Run with it. Take it. You deserve it. You've worked hard behind the scenes. You're there every week. You're there training. You're doing all the work. You're playing top football. England recognizes you. You've won, a few tournaments for England under 18s, done 21s. You just got in a regular into the first team. You're doing your first campaign, with the World Cup and things like that. Take it. You're ready. Don't wait till you think you're ready. Someone has to give you an opportunity. Jerry Francis gave me an opportunity. And also, I think he gave it to me because I was fit all the time. I was playing all the time. Some of those guys just weren't playing all the time. It's like, he said, I need someone who's going to play all the time. And I think with David Howes, he wasn't, in and out of the treatment kind of room. So he wanted someone regular. And I said, yeah, I came back and said, I'm going to take this. I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to go. And then take it on, then you still got to manage older people, and you've got to be a captain. But I knew inside of me, there's something steely, something ready, discipline. I loved playing football. I did my best all the time. I had the will to win. I weren't shirking any kind of games and things like that. Every single game I was up for it. And but I used it my own way. I wasn't shouting and hollering. I performed, and this is what I'm going to lead by: my performances and how I carry myself, not how I shout, not how many parties I organize in between, not if I bring loads of celebrities into the player house, player what do you call it, player kind of
the get together
afterwards, like who am I hanging out with now, and this and that, blah blah blah, superstars and music and models and things like that. I went into that. I'm into playing football. I'm into playing football and being the best football player possible. So that's the way I kind of took it. I led by example. There's many ways of leading, but that particular way, in the beginning, I led by example. Then gradually I got my voice and started leading with my voice and experience and things like that. And, it came together. I was waiting to kind of someone to give me an opportunity, and I'm happy that Joe Francis gave me that opportunity, and I took it, and I was ready, and I grew into it very quickly. A little bit from East London, and I'm kind of hardworking, bit cocky, but polite. Stand up for myself. Had to stand up for myself from a very early age. So all those things that happened to me growing up as an environment that grew up in tough East London kind of helped me when I got there.
So on this show, podcast, we have a lot of very successful entrepreneurs who then turned CEOs or leaders because that was sort of the organic process. They kind of had to until they had the size where, they might employ other people to do it. And many of them describe it as a super, almost like a career change, because you go from being the high performer to a role where you have to make others good.
Yeah.
Is that equivalent to like on a football team, or could you continue to also focus on your own performance, or was your role suddenly to forget more about yourself and make the others good?
I think you have to do both as a football player. You really do. It's not worth having a captain out there if you don't perform, and you're only shouting. Some people, he's a great shouter, but what is he? Is he performing? Yeah, shouting and moving people into positions, that is good. That's an art as well. So I had that as well, but if I didn't back it up with performance, I'm worrying about what everyone's doing, but then I forget my job. Then that's not the way to go, really. So I did both, and I got into both, and it felt, some people grow into a position. I grew into it. I'm never going to be the one who was trying to organize parties and things like that. I'm never going to be the one. But if you want to win, I'm your man, and that's what I am. And I looked at football and I said, this is the things I want to concentrate on. The other things are side things for, stardust or whatever. But I have not got no time for that. I want to win. I'm a winner. And all those things are distracting, and it has distracted people over the time, and it will distract people over in the future as well. The ones who can't be disciplined when they're really working hard and the team working hard to a common goal. There's time for fun, and that's the thing. There's time for fun. You have to understand when to have fun and when to kind of roll your sleeves up and say, we've got to concentrate now and let's get on with the job. You can't keep on, it's not a tap where you switch on, switch off. That type of consistency takes time and discipline and sacrifice. And that's what you got to learn as a captain. You got to lead by example, on and off. Yeah, everyone has fun. You need that to have a blowout and have some fun. But majority of the time, you got to be on it. And if you're not on it, you can lose your way. You're almost like the steerer, the rudder. You got to understand. These components of a team are key. And you can't control everybody. That's why you got, that's why you got a vice captain. That's why you got assistant manager who is the go-between the players you can talk to, things like that. You have to have these elements. If you haven't got these elements in the team, it gets really hard to do your job. But if you've got the budget and there's players and you've got people you can trust, which is key. Trust is massive, because there's a lot of people who are either, at the same time, you've got to also make sure you keep your place. So you've got people other defenders who they maybe have bought in, and that you got to deal with that pressure. Plus, you got to manage a team, and plus you got to manage your manager with that relationship as well. And then you got to manage the board. You got to manage the owner or whatever, and then you got to manage the fans. Then you got to manage your family, your own family around you and friends. So there's a lot of people managing, and it's not just walking on the pitch and things like that. That's not it. There's a lot of things to being a captain and being a captain of a football club or big football clubs. There's a lot of things to deal with, and I managed to do all that. I had time to do that. I didn't have to do that all in 1 year, but that was a course of say a couple of years that I grew into it. But my DNA was ready for it. I just needed someone to see it and believe in me.
Sounds an awful lot like, so I founded 4 scale-ups, growth companies. Sounds a lot like this journey. And now you are here at TechBBQ because you're on sort of a new journey in your life, right? Are you also the captain, You are involved in startups.
Yeah.
Can you tell a bit more about what you're involved in? And are you the captain there?
I'm part of. I studied in Harvard, and I started going to these tech summits around Europe, not America, but mostly Europe. So I've been to a couple been like 3 or 4 in Spain and Portugal, been a couple in Turkey, one in Germany and one Abu Dhabi as well. And so I'm being pop into all these kind of places, and this is my first one in Scandinavian region. And for me, I think the talking sometimes on stage, but also the listening is great. I found that was really kind of, knowledge, start, have that knowledge of what's happening, what's new, what people are talking about, what's the possibilities and things like that. So that was good for me to do a 18 months, 2 years of traveling across Europe and listening and participating in these summits. And for me, that's the journey. That's one journey. And then obviously with football, I can take elements of my journey that I've played 22 decades of football at the highest level, and I can implement that in. So as I was moving around, I met one CEO from this company called Townets, and then another guy I met in Sevilla, and they're both partners, and I've joined their team, but I've met them on circuit. And their player identification platform, they're growing. They're going to be in Sevilla this year. I can't go in like 2 weeks time because it's my birthday, so I can't go. But I'm going to the Porto one. I'm here, and that's the thing. I met these guys, and I've slowly integrated in the company. They are based in Zurich and in Macedonia, Skopje. So the developers and engineers are in Skopje, and 30% of the guys running the business are in Zurich. So it's mainly Zurich based, but the developers and engineers in Skopje. So me being a part of that and being head of insight and kind of a partner in the business, but what I'm also doing, which I'm going to be a captain of, is the podcast video, and also the player coaching app, and then also a fitness app to go with it. So I'm doing 3 features I'm building that will go into their platform under my own name, but into their platform or Townet's platform to add to the kind of connectivity, and also more features for people when they go on to the feature. They can navigate and say, oh, there's a coaching, or there's the data, blah, blah, there's an agency on there, or a FIFA agency on there. So that's what I've kind of got into. And I built the main deck at Michigan Array because I got a small tech team inside. And now, obviously, keeping that in a law firm gets expensive. That's why I had to spin it out, and then eventually I have to find a new place, and hopefully it is Townet to house it, to grow it, to engineer it. But at the same time, I'm looking for investors to come in to help me develop this journey. I think the media thing will be quite quick and be big. The ideas I've got to make it big, and the coaching, the fitness one is good, and it can open up to many things, from mental health to fitness on the football field to all those kind of things. And the podcast will link into that as well. And then the last one, obviously, with the coaching side, that might take a little while, but if I get the right investor, the strategic investor, and the right technology to start, because it's not going to be perfect in the beginning, but as the technology gets better, I'm a part of that journey worldwide, making sure I don't miss a trick or miss the right technology to help me modular kind of build together and move on as I want to be one of the leading platforms for this. That's what I want to do.
So you're staying within the world that you love.
Yes.
And that
in a different way.
Yeah. Did you never feel like, wow, I've been, in this football world that I love for so many years. Let me take a clean break, do something totally different.
I think this is it. Because,
nice.
Yeah, because I've, being honest, I've had 2 jobs. I had 3 jobs. I had one with the Trinidad and Tobago World Cup team, 2018 as a coach, Macclesfield and Southend.
Yeah.
And, some have been good. Other situations are, not being the best. But I have so much love for the game, but I want to work in the game in a different way now. And I want to use my knowledge, my reservoir of knowledge, and use it to the best ability, and use it in a system that can help others, help players who don't know what to do fitness wise, coaching wise, identify players in obscure areas of the world that the country doesn't know they've got, kind of thing. So that's what I want to do. I want to build that community, that trust. I know my football inside out, regardless of what anyone says. You don't become twice World Cup team, one European team, and that's picked by managers who've seen you play in tournaments. So at one stage, I was the best defender in the world, pound for pound, at one stage for 2-3 years. So I know what I'm doing. I know this is the way I can help. I want to help. I want to solve problems. And that's what I'm doing. And not being on the sideline as a traditional manager, who knows? Something might happen in the future. Who knows? But for me, this is more stable for me. I understand it. I studied it long ago. Okay, I had a break, 25 years. I'm back to it now. I want to use my brains. And I don't want to go into the media side in the sense that TV and not presenting and football, that I want to be on the technical side. I want to help people. I want to do private conversations like this for my podcast and video and things like that. I want to teach people while I'm talking. I want to take them on a new journey. I want to be that authenticity kind of voice now when it comes to people talking about the ins and outs, mental health, what tactical things you can say to your game and all that, and also take the interviewee on a journey. So, that's different and things like that. Because I know what players want, and I think the market, the people out there are thirsty and they want that authenticity now. There's so much kind of hot air, and I just want to teach and give a new perspective when it comes to football. I want to give a light to there's some intelligent guys out there. I want to give a light to guys who maybe don't talk all the time, but I know they have brilliant minds when it comes to football and are beautifully talented. So, but they might have retired 20 years ago.
This amazing team spirit that from football, you had it at Arsenal, Tottenham, national team. Is that possible? I sometimes wonder, is that possible to transfer to startups, do you think? Because the founders will often have it, but it's really hard to have a team where everybody feels, we're totally in this together, we are fighting for the same cause. But you managed that as a captain. Is that realistic for the founders who are going to watch this? Do you think, can you create that kind of spirit?
The crazy thing, even in a football team, you get players like that who don't want to know. That's human beings.
Yeah.
You get players who don't give a... They're talented, but they don't give a damn.
No.
And you get that's not going to change.
What do you do with them as a captain? Do you tell the colleagues get out?
No, you put them in a position that benefits them and you.
Yeah.
Don't put them in a position that benefit them.
No.
Because then it's like... It's almost just throwing grenades and kibosh and everything. Put him in a position that he can get something out of it, and you can get something out of it. Don't put him in the sidelines and a sideshow. Put him in there that he has to become him again, and he doesn't want to look stupid, or she doesn't want to look stupid in that position, because you're giving enough importance to the role, giving responsibility. You get people around. And if they deliberately F up, the spotlight's on them. So I've given you a chance, I've given you a platform, I've given you an environment. What more do you want? But you give him a role that everything else, if he does muck up, you can extract him, and then you got someone else to come in that position to make sure it keeps them functioning as a team. That's what I found being a manager. So from a captain to managing a few times, you will get a player who is, the fans' favourite, things like that. But they're past their best, But you have to manage that. You have to manage that because they still got power in the crowd. So you got to manage it. You can say, okay, let's put him in a position and give him a platform. If he does well, yeah, fine. If he doesn't, I'm giving you a chance.
Yeah. Actually, a very good perspective, I think, on being a captain or a founder. I've experienced all of those situations myself. So a little patience, but not too much.
Yeah, you have to. But you have to. I think it's horses for courses. You got to pick your battles. You know, don't think you're gonna win every single battle. You know, there's a war to win, really, in business, in building the right team, being a captain, because, you know, you got to pick your battles. Sometimes you got to let things slide and say, just leave it. You know, other things you got to put your foot down. I think that kind of understanding when to put your foot down, when to kind of not look the other way, but say, hey, I saw you, I let it go, but, you know, I'm not liking this. I let it go this time, but I'm not gonna, you know, there's boundaries. You got to create those boundaries very quickly. As a manager, not so much as a captain, but as a manager.
Thanks so much, Sol. The producer is saying we've run out of time.
We could keep on going, but, you know,
exactly,
it is what it is.
Truly appreciate you taking the time, sharing your story, your insights. Super valuable for our listeners and our viewers.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks so much, and hope you have a great time here in Copenhagen.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Extraordinary. Remember to subscribe to our channel to get notifications when a new episode goes live. Also visit www.extraordinary.media and sign up for our weekly newsletter so you never miss a new and inspiring episode. We wish you an extraordinary day.